Okay, so get this, listeners. Today, we are diving deep into this research plan that's like not just messing around with mental health tech. It's trying to totally change the game.
It really is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, so think podcasts, but like mixed with gamified challenges, and it's all going down in an actual physical community hub right in the middle of a city.
Right in the thick of it.
But the real kicker here, they're not just trying to like build a cool app. They're trying to understand how all of these parts work together to, actually make a real difference in people's lives.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? So they've got this 6-month research plan. It's called Enhancing Mental Health Technology Through User Experience, HCI, and Community Engagement. Quite a mouthful.
Yeah, it's a long one.
But it gets the point across.
Yeah.
Basically, they're super focused on making the user experience top-notch, making sure folks actually stay engaged, and of course, ensuring that everything is safe and secure.
Got it. So it's kind of like, how do you make this tech easy and like fun to use for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're, I don't know, a tech genius or someone who's like, wait, what button do I press?
Exactly. And then there's the question of keeping people coming back for more. We've all downloaded those apps that we use like once and then forget about.
Oh yeah, totally guilty of that.
So what's the secret sauce here? That's what they're trying to figure out. One thing they're testing is gamification. Things like rewards and progress tracking. Seeing if that actually motivates people to stick with it.
Oh, that's actually really smart. Kind of like tricking your brain into like enjoying self-care.
Exactly. It's a fascinating way to apply game mechanics to something as crucial as mental health.
Okay, but hold on a sec. We're talking about mental health here, which means people are sharing like personal, sometimes like sensitive stuff. So how are they making sure everyone feels safe and secure, both online and in that physical space?
Yeah, that's huge, right? They're really digging deep into user perceptions of safety and trust, both on the platform itself and in the physical hub. So they're looking at everything from data security measures to the actual like environmental factors in the hub that might make people feel more comfortable.
Okay, that makes sense.
For example, they're testing whether having those private booths for individual use makes a difference in how people engage.
So it's really going beyond just like making sure the tech works. It's about creating a space where people actually feel like they can, open up and be themselves. And what I think is really cool is that they're not just testing this with like one specific group of people. It's like ages 12 to 28, diverse backgrounds, even neurodivergent individuals. That's like real commitment to being inclusive.
Oh, absolutely. And the way they're gathering all this information, incredibly thorough. We're talking surveys, usability testing, focus groups, in-depth interviews, and they're even tracking how people interact with the platform digitally.
Wow. So they're using like every tool in the toolbox. But wait, they also have this physical research hub, right?
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of the city. So it's not just people sitting at home clicking around on an app. They're experiencing these tools in an actual like real world setting.
Exactly. And that's actually what makes this research so unique, having both a digital platform and a physical space.
Yeah.
It allows them to compare, how people's online experiences actually translate into their real world behavior.
So it's like you could have the best app in the world, but if people aren't comfortable using it out in the real world, then what's the point?
Right.
They're not just seeing like how people click buttons. They're seeing how they use the space, how they interact with each other, even things like the layout of the hub and how that affects the whole, the vibe.
Exactly. They're taking it all in, trying to understand what elements contribute to that positive and engaging experience.
So they're getting all this data right. From surveys, interviews, observations, like how do they even start making sense of it all? It's like a mountain of information.
Think of it as, think of it like putting a puzzle together. You have your quantitative data, the numbers, the hard facts like app usage or self-reported well-being. That gives you the outline. But then you have the qualitative data that adds all the color, all the details.
I see.
The why behind those numbers, the stories people share in interviews and focus groups. It really rounds out the picture.
So like you might see a trend in the numbers, but then you read an interview and it's like, that's why that's happening.
That's exactly it. So it's a combination of quantitative and qualitative analysis. Really powerful stuff. For instance, they might look at how engagement with the platform, using the app, correlates with, let's say, self-reported improvements in anxiety levels. That's the quantitative side. But then they'll dive into the qualitative data, analyzing feedback from interviews and focus groups to see what specific parts of the platform or hub are actually contributing to those positive changes.
Wow, that's really impressive. They're not just looking at the data as a big lump, are they?
Oh, no, not at all. They're doing something called comparative analysis, looking for differences in experiences across different groups, like younger versus older users, people from different backgrounds.
So like maybe younger people love a certain feature, but older folks were like, nope, not for me.
Right. This kind of comparative analysis helps them tailor the whole experience, you see, to fit everyone's needs.
That's like the holy grail of design, right? Making something that truly works for everyone. This is blowing my mind. But I'm curious, what happens after the research is done? What's the ultimate goal?
Well, that's when things get truly exciting. The aim is to use all of these findings to create better mental health resources for everyone, not just the folks in the study. Imagine a world where getting help is as simple and engaging as, oh, I don't know, using your favorite app.
Whoa, okay. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. But how do we get from this research project to like changing the whole world of mental health support? That's a big jump.
It is a big jump, but they've got a plan. They're going to be sharing all their findings with a whole bunch of people, local authorities, universities, community organizations. The idea is to use what they've learned to make better decisions, maybe even create new programs and, improve existing mental health services.
So it's about creating a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Like this one research project could actually change how we approach mental health as a society.
Exactly. And if this model works, it could be replicated in other cities and regions. A whole wave of positive change, building a mental health system that's truly supportive and accessible to everyone.
Okay. This is amazing. But before we get like totally carried away with the amazing possibilities, we need to talk about the ethics of it all.
Right. Absolutely. We can't overlook that, especially when we're dealing with something as sensitive as mental health.
Yeah. So what steps are they taking to make sure everything is, ethical and above board?
Well, first and foremost, they're committed to getting informed consent from every single participant. So everyone involved understands exactly what the research is about, what methods they're using, how their data will be handled. It's all about transparency and respect.
Okay, that's essential. People need to know what they're signing up for. But what about privacy? How are they protecting people's information, especially with folks sharing such personal stuff?
Data privacy is a huge priority. All the data they collect is completely anonymized, so no personal information is ever linked to the research findings.
So it's like you can see the trends, but you don't know who's who.
Exactly. It's about protecting people's identities and ensuring that their information stays confidential.
Got it. But we were talking about inclusivity before. How are they making sure that the platform and hub are accessible to everyone, regardless of, abilities or background?
Well, equity is baked into the research from the very beginning. From recruiting participants to actually designing the platform and the hub.
Smart.
For example, they're testing things like screen readers and different navigation options on the platform to make sure everyone can use it effectively, no matter their tech skills or any physical limitations they might have.
Wow, they're really thinking about every detail. This is really impressive work.
It really is. This research shows how technology can be such a powerful force for good in the mental health world. But, we've only just scratched the surface here. There's so much more to uncover.
Okay, I am officially hooked. This is incredible stuff. We've got cutting-edge tech, super thorough research, and a vision that's honestly pretty inspiring. But we're not done yet. There's a whole lot more to explore.
Welcome back. So before the break, we're chatting about, all the different ways they're gathering data for this project. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah, it is. But I want to know more about what they're actually testing. Like, tell me about these podcasts and these gamified challenges they're developing.
Okay, so the podcasts, first of all, they're not your typical, boring lecture kind of thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're trying out all kinds of different formats. Some are like personal stories of people who've overcome mental health challenges. Some are interviews with experts, like debunking common myths. Okay. Right. But what's really cool is they're incorporating humor and creative sound design to make it more engaging, less intimidating,
So it's like they're taking what works for those super popular true crime podcasts, but for mental well-being.
Exactly. People are way more likely to tune in and learn if it feels entertaining, not like a chore.
Right. Makes total sense. Okay, but how do the gamified challenges fit into all of this?
So the challenges are meant to go hand in hand with the podcasts. So they encourage users to actually put what they've learned into action.
Oh, I like that.
For example, let's say there's a podcast episode about, mindfulness techniques.
Okay.
The challenge that goes with it might be complete a daily meditation practice, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
I love that. It's like turning self-care into a game. You're not just passively listening, you're building healthy habits. What kind of rewards are they using? How do they keep people motivated?
Well, they're experimenting with a bunch of different rewards to see, what works best. Some are virtual, like earning badges on the platform or points, things like that.
Okay.
Others are, they offer real-world perks.
Oh, like what?
Like access to exclusive content or maybe discounts on things like, I don't know, yoga classes or healthy meal delivery services, stuff like that.
Oh, that's actually really clever. It's like getting rewarded for taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
What are some examples of the challenges they're testing out? I'm super curious about the specifics.
Some focus on those everyday habits that can have a big impact on your mental well-being, things like tracking your sleep, setting realistic goals for the day, even just practicing gratitude.
Okay.
Others are more about social connection, which we know is super important for mental health.
So important.
So they might have challenges where users connect with others on the platform, join a group activity at the hub, or even just reach out to a friend they haven't talked to in a while.
So it's about building community.
Yeah.
Both online and offline.
Exactly. And that's where the physical research hub really comes in. It's not just a place to sit and scroll through the app. It's a place to actually connect with real people.
Okay, paint me a picture. What's it like inside this hub?
Imagine walking into this bright open space. There are comfy seating areas, maybe some little nooks for reading or working on your own. And then there are separate rooms for group activities.
Okay.
They've really thought about the design. It's all about creating a calming and inclusive atmosphere.
So not like a sterile doctor's office?
Not at all. It's more there's soft lighting, plants, natural elements. It's designed to feel like a sanctuary, a place where people can just de-stress and recharge.
Sounds amazing. Like a spa for the mind and soul. What kind of activities happen there?
Oh, they offer all sorts of things. Yoga and meditation classes, art therapy, peer support groups. There are even staff members on hand who are trained to provide guidance and support.
Wow, they're really covering all the bases.
Okay.
Let's switch gears back to the research itself. We've talked about their methods, the cool stuff they're testing, but what kind of impact are they hoping to see from all of this?
Well, on an individual level, they're looking for real improvements in participants' mental well-being. Things like reduced stress and anxiety, better sleep, a boost in self-esteem.
So they're not just hoping for, good vibes.
Nope, they're actually measuring whether these tools are actually making a difference. That's crucial.
For sure. How do they measure that?
They use a variety of methods. They look at self-reported data, of course, but they also use more objective measures like heart rate variability and cortisol levels. Those can show changes in stress and anxiety.
Interesting. So they're getting a really, comprehensive picture of the effects. What about the bigger picture, though? What kind of societal impact are they hoping to achieve?
They believe this research has the power to, completely transform how we approach mental health support as a whole. Imagine a world where getting help is as easy and accessible as, I don't know, ordering takeout or booking a ride on your phone.
Okay, that's a powerful vision. But how realistic is that? I mean, mental health is complicated, right?
Oh, it is. But the technology is already there. What this research is doing is figuring out how to use that tech to build a system that's not only effective, but also engaging and fair. It's about breaking down the barriers to getting help.
So it's not just about building a flashy app. It's about building a system that actually works for everyone. And to do that, they need to get a lot of different people on board.
You got it. They're collaborating with a whole network of different stakeholders. They're working with local authorities to figure out how to incorporate these tools into existing services, partnering with universities to develop training programs, and they're teaming up with community organizations to make sure the hub is truly meeting the needs of the people they're serving. It's a team effort.
Wow, it's amazing to see so many groups coming together to tackle this. This is what real collaboration looks like.
It really is. It just highlights how important it is to have this holistic approach to mental health. It's not just therapy or medication. It's about supportive environments, healthy habits, having access to information.
Yeah, it's about weaving mental well-being into our everyday lives. Okay, but let's get back to the ethics, because that's super important.
Couldn't agree more. It's absolutely critical.
So we already talked about informed consent and data privacy, but What are some of the other ethical challenges they're thinking about?
One big one is accessibility, making sure both the platform and the hub are accessible to everyone, no matter their background, abilities, or their financial situation. There's that digital divide. We can't let technology make existing inequalities worse.
No, absolutely not. So how are they addressing that challenge?
Well, they're offering free Wi-Fi and computers at the hub for anyone who needs it.
Okay.
They're providing training to help people improve their digital skills, and they've designed the platform to be very user-friendly, even for people who aren't super comfortable with technology.
Excellent. I also wonder about people who might be hesitant to use technology for mental health support in the first place.
Sure.
There's still a lot of stigma around it. Some people just might not be comfortable sharing personal stuff online.
Right. Building trust is key here. And they're doing that by working closely with community leaders and mental health advocates, making sure the program is culturally sensitive, responsive to the needs of different communities.
Okay.
And they're very upfront about transparency and data privacy. People need to know how their information is being used and protected.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like they're really thinking ahead and trying to anticipate these potential problems. What are they most excited about? Like when they look to the future of this project, what gets them pumped up?
One thing they're really excited about is how this research can be used to develop even better mental health tech in the future. They see this as a blueprint for how to use technology to support well-being in a way that's more accessible, more engaging for everyone.
So it's not just about this one project. It's about creating a model for future innovation.
Exactly.
What long-term impact are they hoping to see?
Well, they imagine a future where mental health support is just a normal part of our lives. Like it's integrated into our routines, much like, taking care of our physical health. And technology can play a huge role in making that happen, breaking down stigma, making care easier to access, and empowering people to take charge of their own mental well-being.
That's an amazing vision.
Well,
So what does all of this mean for our listeners? Why should they care about this research?
I think it shows that we don't have to just accept the way things are when it comes to mental health care. There are innovative solutions out there, and technology is a key part of making those solutions better and easier to access.
Yeah. It's a reminder that we can all be part of creating a world where mental well-being is a priority for everyone.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be some big, grand gesture.
Right.
It can be small things.
Right.
Talking openly about mental health, supporting organizations doing this kind of work, just being kind to each other, all of that matters.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
It has. We've learned about this incredible project, the tech, the research, the vision behind it all. But there's one more piece we need to consider.
Oh, right. We still need to talk about the potential challenges and how they plan to overcome them.
Because let's face it, every innovation has its hurdles.
That's the truth.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll tackle those questions head on and explore what the future holds for this game-changing research. All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. We've been talking about this amazing research project, all the cool tech, the thorough research, their big vision for the future. It's all very inspiring. But we have to be real for a second. No project this big is going to be without, a few bumps in the road.
Of course not. Every innovation is going to face some challenges along the way. The important thing is how they're anticipated and dealt with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's put on our critical thinking hats here.
Mm.
What are some potential roadblocks they might run into?
Well, one they've already mentioned is scalability. Right now, this is a fairly, small project happening in one specific location. Taking this to a much larger scale, a more diverse group of people, that's going to take a lot of resources and infrastructure.
Yeah, for sure. It's one thing to run a pilot program and see that it works, but it's a whole different ballgame to make it available to everyone who could benefit from it.
Yeah.
So what are they thinking about when it comes to, scaling up?
They're looking at a bunch of different things. First, they're exploring partnerships, with other organizations and businesses that can help them expand their reach. Second, they're trying to figure out how to adapt the platform and the hub model to different types of communities, different cultural contexts. Because one size doesn't fit all, right?
Right.
They need to be sensitive to the specific needs of each population.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
What about money? Funding for these kinds of projects often comes from grants and donations, and that can be pretty unpredictable.
You're not wrong. Securing sustainable funding is going to be key if they want this project to be successful long term. They're looking at all kinds of different funding models, partnerships with government agencies, private foundations, even social impact investors.
So it sounds like they're trying to, like, diversify their funding sources, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. But we can't forget about the human side of things. We're talking about technology, sure, but this is really about people. What are some of the challenges they might have in terms of getting people to use and engage with this technology?
That's a good point. I mean, technology can be intimidating for some people.
Absolutely. One big hurdle is the digital divide. Not everybody has access to technology or the skills to use it well.
Right.
So they're really focusing on making sure the platform and hub are accessible to people with different levels of digital literacy.
So it's not enough to just build a cool app. You have to make sure everyone can use it. How are they doing that?
A few different ways. They offer free Wi-Fi and computers at the hub. They provide training in digital skills. And they've made the design of the platform very user-friendly, even for beginners. They're even thinking about working with community centers and libraries, places where people can get online if they don't have internet at home.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm also curious about those who might be hesitant to use technology for mental health support in the first place. I mean, there's still a stigma around mental health, and not everyone's going to be comfortable sharing personal things online.
That's a valid concern. Building trust is so important here, and they're really focusing on that. They're working closely with community leaders and mental health advocates to make sure the program is culturally sensitive.
Okay.
They're being very transparent about how data is used and protected.
So people feel safe.
Right.
It really seems like they're trying to think of everything, anticipating these potential barriers. But it's not all about overcoming obstacles, right? There's got to be things that they're really excited about, things that get them fired up. What are they looking forward to?
Well, one thing that has them really excited is the possibility of using this research to inform how future mental health tech is developed. They're not just trying to solve one problem, they're creating a whole model for how technology can support mental well-being, a model that's accessible and engaging for everyone.
So this is about more than just one project. It's about laying the groundwork for something much bigger.
Precisely.
What kind of long-term impact are they hoping to see?
They really believe that in the future, mental health support will be a normal part of our everyday lives, just like physical health care. And technology can be a really important part of making that happen. Less stigma, easier access to care, and people feeling more empowered to take care of their own mental well-being.
That's a powerful vision. So
Yeah.
let's bring this home for our listeners. What does all of this mean for them? Why should they care about this research?
I think this research shows that we don't have to just accept the way things are when it comes to mental health. There are new and innovative solutions being created, and technology is a huge part of making those solutions better and more accessible for everyone.
It's a reminder that we can all play a part in building a world where everyone prioritizes mental well-being. Whether it's advocating for better resources, supporting organizations that are doing this kind of work, or even just having honest conversations with friends and family.
Right. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. Every little bit helps. Every conversation, every act of kindness, every effort to raise awareness, it all contributes to making our society more supportive and compassionate.
Well said. And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure having you with us. We've covered a lot of ground today exploring this incredible research project, the cool technology, the rigorous research, the inspiring vision they have. But the conversation doesn't end here. We encourage you to keep learning, keep thinking critically, and imagine a future where taking care of our mental well-being is a right, not a privilege. Thanks for tuning in.